All right, we are now recording. Welcome everybody to the Monday edition of Power Hour. Appreciate you all jumping on. We do this every Monday and Thursday. There is a group that we have on Facebook Messenger for this. So if you have not been added to that, get with the person that enrolled you or told you about this, and they can add you to the group. If for some reason you can't get in touch with them, you can send me a messenger post that says, Casey, add me to Power Hour, and I'll be able to get you added in there. We also have a web page. So once you get in that group, you'll be able to look at that web page, and we post the recordings for all of our sessions on there. So if for some reason you miss out and you weren't able to log in time, maybe you're at work dealing with that 9 to 5 thing that we're trying to get out of, then you have an option to be able to jump on for that. All right. So what we do here with this Power Hour is, again, you want to make sure that you've been launched. So if you snuck in here, not really sure how you wandered in here, no worries. You don't have to jump off. Just know that it's extremely important. It's vital that you get with the person that you got started with and make sure that you get launched for the duplication purposes of what we do in this business. And then after that, once you get launched, there's going to be some more questions. You're going to wonder, okay, what do I do? I think I heard everything they said, but maybe I just feel completely lost. Or maybe you have some more, want to get some clarity on some things. Or you'll see a lot of people on here that are, Sapphire and above as well. And the reason that they're on is everybody keeps sharpening the axe. There's nothing better than going back to the basics. I listen to Jim Rohn talking about building a network empire. I listen to that at least once a month. I do that because there's always something in those basics that I want to hear differently. So welcome everybody for coming to that. A lot of people are in this or looking on, okay, what do I do later after I get some people in? How do I train them? And people want to be able to take a look at this and use it as an example on what they can do. And maybe some of you are using it as an example of what not to do. I'm good with that too. So I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but I've been doing this for a couple years. And I got a couple good things to share, so that's what we
wanted to always have the.
All right, Velma, I'm going to mute you again. You keep unmuting yourself somehow. All right, we got everybody muted now. If you've got a question, feel free to unmute yourself at any time and just absolutely interrupt me with a question. That's what this Power Hour is for. If you don't feel comfortable doing that and you want to type it in, you can use the chat session for that. Again, make sure everybody knows we are recording, and this will be posted out to the internet for everybody to take a look at for replay. So let's get it kicked off tonight. Who's got a question for me? Who's first up tonight?
Hey, Casey, Don, do we have an agenda for guests in Dallas this weekend for Saturday night?
We do, as far as for, so he's talking about Diamond University that's being held all over the U.S. They just finished up in San Diego and a couple of other places. I know we actually had some team members out there just crushing it. But the place that you can go look at is on teamfusionfamily.com. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show y'all where to go for this. This website, if you don't know about Team Fusion Family, I try to talk about it every time that we're in here because it is so good and it's so powerful, and we've got so much good info in here. So if you go to teamfusionfamily.com, scroll up so that this little menu makes it up to the top, and then you click on resources, events, and you'll see Diamond University. So a lot of us are going to be going to Dallas because a lot of us are in Houston. And if you scroll down, you'll see the cities that we're going to be in: Dallas, Nashville, and Orlando. And then if you click on the picture part of this, it'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see they've got the DFY event both days at 7 p.m. And that's the part for guests. That's where we're going to do a presentation. A lot of y'all have seen this business via a Zoom presentation where we show that, or maybe you've been at somebody's house to be able to take a look at the information. What this is for a DFY event is the same presentation, just on a grander scale. You're going to have a room full of 400 something people, depending on where you're at, maybe 100, depending on where you're at. And then what we do is we'll be able to have our guests come in for that portion to be able to see that. Now that's when they're going to start. So you might tell your guests to get there about 6:30, 6:45 at the latest. And then you can go meet them out in the hallway, have them text you when they're coming in. And then you can, say hello to them. And then they'll come in and they're going to see the greatest show on earth without a doubt and see why you came to Dallas. So, or whatever city you guys might be in. So if you guys are going to the event, make sure you look at this. Now it's different depending on the market. So for Dallas, that's when it's going to be, and that's where it's going to be. So you'll be able to check that out. And Don, you might tell Cheryl that Michelle is calling me. Tell her I'll reach out to her after we're done with Power Hour, just so she doesn't think I'm forgetting her. If you want to pass that message over to her.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Does that answer your question, Don, on the timing?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Very good question. Very good question. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that. I saw some chat session go in there. Let me click there. What's the best way to build your legs for the fastest progress? Good question. Get everyone and all of your legs to go to Diamond University. That is a great answer, Sherry. Well said. Well said. But yeah, really, how do you get what's the best way to build your legs for the fastest progress? I don't know if you're, John, are you talking about placement or are you asking a different question? When placing new partners, there it is. I see it. So good question. Very good question. So the question is, when you sponsor somebody, then how do we place them? So some people are literally brand spanking new and they don't even know the difference between a sponsor tree and a placement tree. What I will tell you is that don't feel like you got to know the answer to that question to do all the other stuff. But it is a question that you want to be able to learn, and that's what we're here for, is to learn extra skills. So this is one of those kind of behind-the-scenes ones that is being asked, and it's talking about how do you place somebody. Here's the simplest way and the algorithm that goes through my head on what I do. First thing I want to do is look if there's anybody already in my organization, then I want to ask a couple questions. The easy answer is if it's brand new and it's the first person you sponsored, they go in the first slot. After that, when you get your second partner, then you need to decide, do I put it underneath the first partner or do I put it in the second slot? And those are your two options at that point. Let's say that you decided that you want to put them in the second slot. I'm going to draw this out so you all can see what I'm talking about. Let me share my screen again. So let's say this is you. And you sponsored one person. This is Al. That's your first person. And then you sponsor Bob. And you got to decide, do I put Bob here or do I put Bob here? Here's the algorithm that I go through. Does Bob know Al? And do they know him pretty well? And are they in the same vicinity physically, in the same city? If all of those things are yes, then I'm going to put Bob right here, to be honest with you. Okay, now for you to hit ranks, to you to get fast start bonuses, for you to do all sorts of things, you got to hit it at least to Garnet. To get to Garnet, you have some requirements. You need 1,000 points total in your entire organization, and 400 of those need to be outside of your largest leg, which means you must have 2 legs to promote. So, but Casey, I've got Bob there. And if I put Bob in my second leg, I might be able to promote faster. True statement. Let's say Al came in at the $5.99 package. And let's say Bob came in at the $5.99 package. If that's the case, and again, I'm talking US dollars here because I know we have a lot of folks from Canada on the line. So that's 500 points, QV. And so if you add this all up, you've got 1,000 QV in your organization, but you don't have the second requirement here of 400 outside your largest leg filled out. So you're not a Garnet. So what I'm going to show you is some things that I live by. Now, here's the deal. It's your business. You can do this however you see fit. But one of the things that I live by, and it has served me extremely well in this business, is I'm going to show you here in the launcher underneath our mission statement. On number 8, actually number 7, is we stay humble by putting the needs of our team before our own personal needs. We care for others. What we're doing here is we're building a team. And here's why you need to make a decision right here, because if you put Bob in this slot right here, are you going to get promoted? Yes, you will. Is that the best thing that you can do for Al and Bob? They're best friends. They've known each other forever. And they want to be able to work together. And you've got this dilemma of they want to go together, but I want to put them over here. You sponsored both of them. You sponsored Al, you sponsored Bob. It's your choice on where you put them. And so you got to make that choice. Now, just because I make that selection doesn't mean that's the best selection that you make. I'm telling you how I go about it and the thought process that I go through. There's always extenuating circumstances. There's always different reasons on why to do those things. And a lot of times, sometimes it can be that somebody just didn't know any better. And that's okay too. Don't worry about it. When it's all said and done, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're always going to bring new people into the business. And just how you think you're going to organize and build a team out, it could completely change next week. Another thing that I want to throw in, so John, that's one point that I want to bring in and something to think about when you're building this. Eventually, at some point, you got to build your second leg. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And I actually had this problem when I first got started. I was building a leg that was just insane going down this first leg. I was just, boom, I was putting people in left and right, and they're like, holy crap. And that got a lot of people excited, and a lot of people came on board as a result of that. And then I looked up and I said, holy smokes, I got to get this second leg going. And so I went to another city actually to do that. And that's not necessarily the great idea to do, but that's what I did. And then I started getting my second leg built out, and people were coming in and people were coming in. And then I had another person, and I'm looking at this going, what do I need to do? It literally could go in either leg. What should I do? And this is where I bring in, and I actually called my mentor in this business, Purple Diamond, Mr. David Nieves, and I said, look, man, I know what to do in my previous company, but I'm not quite clear what I need to do here in this because we didn't have this cool problem. What should I do? And he said something to me that I always forget, and I share it often, is he said, when you're on an airplane and you're sitting next to somebody on your team, like one of your kids, and the oxygen masks fall down, who do you put it on first? You got to put it on you. You got to be around so that they got somebody to be able to work with. You got to hit ranks in this thing. You got to go up. You need to be able to show people that it's doable. You got to show people that it's possible. They're looking at you to see, are you going to do it? And when I made that decision, I did it, and it was really, I could have gone either way. They didn't know each other, and it was just, flip a coin. Which one should I do? In that case, it was the right move to be able to put them in that second leg. I had that third leg already started. That part was the easy part for Sapphire. For me, it was getting that second leg moving. And then once I did, boom, I hit the car program. What did that do? It built a heck of a lot of belief in a lot of people. And when they saw that, they're like, oh, crap, this is real. A lot of people came on board after that as a result of that. Mr. Eddie Blacknell, great gentleman on my team, one of my top leaders. He came on board because he saw that car. I was driving down the down ramp at work, and he sees that, and it was so awesome because I saw him walking up, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Roll the window down, said, Eddie, have a great weekend, sir. And he goes, you got it? And then he went and looked at the bag. He said, you got the – he sees the sticker on the car. He said, oh, my goodness. He said, hey, can I give you a call? About what? What do you want to talk about? Yes, sir, absolutely. I didn't make it out of the freaking garage, and he was already on the phone with me. People need to see that. So, John, hopefully that answers your question, sir.
Yeah, it did. Thanks.
Cool. You're welcome. Good questions. Let's keep it going. This is what I want Power Hour to be. What questions you got? What's something that's been bugging you or you're not sure and you think is a stupid question and you don't really want to ask because you're afraid what everybody's going to think? And I do this in front of everybody with their video on for a reason. Hopefully y'all are catching on to that. All right, there's 40 of y'all, 39 more than me. You got to have a question.
What is the video we need to watch this week?
Rob, you can't use that next week, but that's a good question. Let's see. I told you guys to do Rise of the Entrepreneur. I told you to do The Secret. Let me think about that one, and I'll say that before the end. If I forget, remind me, but I'll think on that one a little bit. I'll be prepared next time to give you guys some thoughts on the next one.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's get into a couple things I wrote down that I wanted to share for the new folks that are just getting started in this thing. And this actually applies to everybody, but mindset's what I really want to talk about. We've been going in pretty good on the details, on the specifics, the mechanics of what to do. If you just joined since we did our last one, and I know we've got some new people on here, then please feel free to go over to, you'll scroll up in the Power Hour thread, and when you do, you'll see a web page that I created. It's not pretty. It's pretty rudimentary. It's basic. It serves the simple needs, but it's got all of the recordings that we've done in the last 2 weeks, or the last 2 sessions rather. We went over customers in pretty good detail and business partners and what to do on those in pretty good detail. So I want to talk about mindset, because once you get the mechanics, if you've seen probably more than 2 or 3 of these, you've got the mechanics on what it takes to be successful in this. The big thing that starts messing with you is the old noggin up here. It starts messing with you. It starts keeping you out of action. It starts doing all those things. So I want to give you 4 things that I think will be very, very helpful to jot down. The first one, I'm going to give you all 4 of them, and then we'll go back in, and then we'll talk about each of them. But the first one that I want you to jot down if you're taking notes tonight is, first thing to do, make lots of mistakes. Make lots of mistakes. We're so used to going through school, getting good grades so we can go out and get a good job. That was the line that we were fed for a long time. And we like being right. We get a little kick in the brain of some cool chemicals that are basically crack for us, and we like being right, and we like doing good, and somebody pats us on the head and say, hey, you did a really good job, and we feel good about that when we get the right answer. It would be better that we celebrated failure instead of celebrating getting the right answer. If we would celebrate failure, people would go through more and more failures. They would learn faster, and we would change the world a whole lot faster. So what I want you to do is rewire yourself. And that's not simple. I've been working on that for a long time. It is a slow process. Hopefully some of y'all will go faster than me. But it's about making more mistakes. If you do something wrong in this thing, so what? As a funny show said one time, but did you die? No, you didn't die. You're going to be fine. All right? And learn from it. It feels awkward. It doesn't feel good. Nobody likes making mistakes. But make more mistakes. Get out there and do it. Don't be so afraid of getting it wrong that you take forever to do it right. Jason, that hit home? He's writing that one down. I just happened to look at you and you were like, yep. Second one, master your time. We all got 168 hours this week. Some of you are going to make the excuse, I don't have any time. And there's other people on the planet that are going to make literally $1 million this week. And they had the same 168 hours. That's crazy to think about. And before you get in there and start, telling yourself all this different stuff, just get the main concept of master your time. Don't allow circumstances to dictate how you spend your time. Third one I want you to write down is, oh, you know what the heck I wrote here? Stand by. The hell I can't read what I wrote here. Work on things that make you money. Next one is have good handwriting. I'm just kidding about that. So number 3 is work on things that make you money, especially when it comes to this business. And number 4 is be aware of procrastination. Some of y'all don't like that last word I said. All right, so I told you I was going to read them all out and then go into it, but I can't help myself. I just started talking about them already. So I already hit number 1 pretty good. Make lots of mistakes. Number 2, master your time. This is something that I've struggled with for a long time, and actually I'd say I do pretty good. But I know I can do better. I do pretty good with the amount that I get out of the day, but I still waste time. Even now, I still have these squirrel moments where it's just, I look up and I'm like, how the hell did I just spend 10 minutes looking at that? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to be hyper aware. Just go through literally one day, starting at the end of this hour. I want you to go from 10 o'clock Central until 10 o'clock Central tomorrow and make a good record of what you do with your time. Just track one day on what you do with your time. Okay? Just to start getting a feel on where it goes. What did you do it on? If you just do that, you're going to have one of the most productive days tomorrow that you've had in a long time. But if you'll focus on that, what am I spending my time on? The reason we don't focus on what we do day by day, it's just another day, is because we think we got so many of them left. I've had a lot of y'all do this experiment, but we got a lot of new people, and it doesn't hurt to hear it again. But I want you to take a calculator out if you have one. Do it on your phone or on the computer or whatever. And I want you to do the math on how long is 20,000 days. 20,000 days. What if I told you only had 20,000 days left? When you hear that, when I heard that, I'm like, that's not that long. 20,000 days, I mean, that's not that much. But if you take 20,000 days and you divide it by 365, you're going to see that it's about, I think it's 54.8 years. Then when you hear that, say, oh, hell, that's a long time. So when you hear 55.4, 2 digits in years, you think that's forever. When you hear 20,000 days, it's like, whoa, that got a little real. And if you think about what you waste your days on, it is insane. If you think how much you spend each day on certain tasks, it's insane. But literally, and I mean this, please take this to heart. Do this exercise. It will change your entire outlook. And when you see that, you're like, my goodness gracious. Now, here's what you'll also do. If you start planning, this is why people don't track what they do in a day, because they start planning out their days. Oh, I'm going to get organized. I got me a planner. I'm all excited. I'm going to fill out my planner. I'm going to make this day mine. And you start filling it out. And you write war and peace for that day on what you're going to get done. And when it's all said and done, you get like 3 things off that list done. And you consider yourself what? A failure. And then you don't go do it again because you don't like how that makes you feel. So I tell you to go back and look at step number 1, make lots of mistakes. And then 2, to master your time, you got to get around this thing. You got to be really good with your time. Now, that doesn't mean that it's all focused on work. You need to schedule in the time for the things that are important for you. Because when you get done with this exercise and you start looking at it, you're going to see you are probably not working on the things that are truly making you happy. And that knocks you out of balance. And when you're not in balance, you're not happy. When you design your day based around what you want and what you want to achieve, and when you finish the day up and you look back and you reflect on it and you look at your journal and what you did for the day, and it's in line with what you designed, you are on cloud 9. It is very, very cool feeling. And I don't know what it is that you want to do. That's your call. I want you to be happy. When you're happy, you're going to do things. You're all on this thing because I think I got an idea of what you want to do. That makes me happy because it's all working towards a common goal. Or you wouldn't be here. Or maybe you're here because you don't really know what this is and somebody that just sponsored you said, hey, you got to get on this Power Hour thing. So maybe that's happening too. But you're in this business because there's a pretty good chance that you want to achieve something. Maybe you want to impact some lives or you want to make some money, and those 2 things are absolutely tied at the hip. So figure out what you're spending your time on, master that, make sure that when you're doing it and you look down, you're aware of it, and then be more powerful than the inertia of you doing what you're doing. Have the ability to go, stop, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. A good acronym I learned from another mentor of mine is WIN, W-I-N. What's important now? When you finish with the task and you're about to start up on something else, it is so easy to have a little squirrel moment and go do something else. Or maybe have a little you time and go check the news, or have a little you time and go check a stock price, or have a little you time and go read some silly article or whatever. I don't know what. Decide on what's important to you. What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? is what you're getting ready to do going to further that? A lot of us, and I have this problem a lot too, is I deserve a little me time. I've worked my butt off today. I'm going to have a little couch time. I'm going to watch a movie or I'm going to watch a TV show. I'm completely cool with having some downtime. I get that. But each time make a conscious decision of that's what you want to do at that moment before you start that movie up. Maybe it'd be better if you went in and organized your notes on who you talked to for the day so that when you need to follow up with them in 3 weeks, you remember what it is you need to say to them. And I find that that's something that I enjoy doing more now than watching a show. I've caught myself in the middle of the show and I kind of look around, I was like, how the hell did I get here? I'm up in my media room, sitting on the couch, watching my big screen projector thing, and I'm going, what am I doing here? This is the dumbest damn show I've ever watched. I didn't even want to watch this. What am I doing? I'll turn it off. I'll go down and I'll do what makes me happy, what's truly fulfilling me. Some people say, Casey, you need to freaking take some time off. No, that's what I want to do. And if what you want to do is I want to watch this show, watch the show. Just don't go through it as a robot. Do it by a conscious decision. Make the choice that you wanted to do that. That's what I mean by master your time. Don't just do it because everybody else is doing it. Don't let that peer pressure kick in and say, hey, you want to go to lunch? No, I actually had 4 people I was going to call, and that's going to get me closer to my goals, which is to impact 200,000 lives. And if I decide to go eat with you and all you're going to do is talk about that stupid Netflix show that you've been watching for the last 3 years, that's really not going to blow my hair back. I don't choose to go to lunch with you today. You can PC that on up, or you can tell it just like it is. I don't care. That's your call. Do you like that person or not? But that's the mindset. I want you guys to be conscious of it. So master your time. Next one is work on the things that make you money. So many times in this business, you're doing things that are not making you money. Some of y'all know that I'm a very big Grant Cardone fan on what he teaches. One of his great sayings is, who's got my money? Now, some people hear that and go, that sounds very obnoxious. Well, maybe it is. But where he's coming from that is, are you doing the things that's going to get you the money? Because if you've got the money, you can do the things that you really want to do on this planet. And chances are, if you're in this organization, you're in this business, it's because you like helping people. And if you got money, you can help a whole lot more people. But we're so tied up on what money means that when somebody says, who's got my money, then we sound like we're obnoxious and we're trying to get something from somebody. So that's an interesting little thought to try on. But when he says that, what it means is, are you doing the things that are making you money? And in our business, like I said earlier, it's tied at the hip. Money and impact is one and the same in our business. Not that way in all the other businesses that are out there, but ours, blessed it is. It is so cool. So if you're not doing something that is going to bring you a new business partner or bring you a new customer, then whatever that is probably isn't a good thing for you to keep doing. Now, there's some stuff that you got to do. There's a little bit of that paperwork. There's a little bit of the things that you have to do to be able to keep the wheel moving. But some of you have organized your desk and your office one too many times. All right. Some of y'all are getting ready to get ready to do this thing. All I need to do is go to all you got to do, is make it to Office Depot one more time and get one more of those little sorting mechanisms for your desk to get it just right. Instead of going that, why don't you pick up the phone and text somebody and see if they might be interested in changing their life. So do the income bringing activities. Again, this is becoming aware of what you do on a daily basis. A lot of you all work for a living for working for somebody else, and you trade time for money. What that means is you show up, you do some of the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. You might mess around and spend a little time doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. That's okay. And then you get done and then you go home. And you're still going to get paid the same amount of money as if you got in there and absolutely crushed it all day long and went home. Now, I don't know if y'all figured this out or not, but that's why you like this business, is because you can see a way to actually get paid what you're worth. Because you could do a whole lot more where you're working right now, but why should you? Because you're going to do just enough so they don't fire you, and they're going to pay you just enough so you don't quit. Now, just because you're working so many hours, they ain't paying you truly by the hour, just so y'all know. They just know the amount of work you're going to do in a 40-hour week is worth it to them for about 40 times the hourly wage that they're sending you. Doesn't mean that's what you're worth per hour to them. That means what it's worth for the 20 hours of work you're going to do out of that 40-hour work week. That's just how it goes. So when you get into this business, nobody's watching you. Nobody's pushing you on that. It's up to you. Because here's the deal. If you take all this, you go, he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. I don't care. I'm just going to go do me. That's cool. It's not going to matter to me one bit. And so the discipline has to be there for you to be able to get in there and make it happen. That's why your why's got to be big enough deal so that it'll push you to go do that. But when it's all said and done, make sure when you're disciplining yourself and you're being aware of what you're working at when it's time to do the Kyani business, make sure you're spending that time on the income bringing activities. Make sure you are reaching out to somebody. Make sure you're doing one of the letters in the RP3 ATF system. Make sure you're building rapport with somebody. Make sure you're piquing somebody's interest. Make sure you're putting somebody on a 3-way call. Make sure you're adding somebody to Wellness Simplified. Make sure you're tagging them on the DFY system. Make sure you're following up with them after a few days to see if they actually read what you tagged them on. Those are the things that you need to make sure that you're working on. And then number 4, be aware, which I guess is one and the same thing. Be aware of procrastination. It's really easy to say that I'm going to do this thing in a little bit after I do this thing. So these last two kind of go together. It's really easy to procrastinate making that phone call and reaching out to somebody because you got to go organize your desk one more time. Another thing to think about is when you're reaching out, it's easy to procrastinate because maybe you are uncomfortable. Raise your hand if you're uncomfortable calling people about this business still. Completely cool if you are. Be honest with me. Come on. Miss Sherry Passmore, I love it. Sapphire in the business, still that way. Miss Tanya Holmes, Emerald in the business, still that way. Claire, Pearl in the business, still feels that way. A lot of people feel that way. I get it. And has that ever caused you to go work on something else instead of actually making an income-bringing activity? Yeah, everybody's looking around and whistling right now. Absolutely. So be aware of that. So here's how you get yourself out of that situation. When that happens, when you are afraid to call somebody, you are in your own head. You are in it for you at that moment. So when I tell you to be aware of procrastination, it's kind of the leading way that it gets you to focus on what you need to be doing in this business, which is thinking about the other person. Let's say you see you're driving by and you see a house on fire. And you can procrastinate on whether you're going to go into that building or not. But all of a sudden, you hear your kid in there yelling for help. You stop procrastinating, don't you? You stop thinking about you. There's somebody in there that needs your help, and you're in immediate action. Why is that? Because that was a big why to you. Somebody in there was very important to you. Try this on for size, but some of you guys got some people that are in some burning buildings right now with their health or with their wealth. And some of you are standing outside with a big old water bucket deciding on whether you're going to go in there and throw it on the house or not. Now, if that hits you between the eyes, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here so that I can frame this in such a way that I get you off of your little bottom and go do this thing. Why am I doing that? Because I'm in it for 200,000 lives. That's my goal. I want to be a part of your story that one day you say, ha, he got me off my ass to go do this business. Thank you. And because of that, I talked to one more person. And that person went out and got 200 distributors themselves. And then they taught some of this nonsense that I'm spewing on here. And then they went and showed somebody else. The next thing you know, we hit 200,000. So that's why I do it. So be aware of your procrastination. Somebody's waiting on you to share this with them. Pretty powerful when you think about what we got our hands on. I promise you my previous company, and I never sit there and go, oh my God, there are some people out there that are going to pay $27 too much this month if I don't get off my ass. Not one single time. But this business, I think about that a lot. So be aware of that. I want to talk about, anybody got any questions? I feel like this is all heavy and stuff, but all right. Another mindset thing I want you to be aware of is the stories. Somebody put something on there that triggered that thought today, and I wrote it down that I wanted to speak about it in the Power Hour. Well, I remember what it was. Tori had posted out there, does anybody need some Sunrise bottles? And then she said later, 4 of us like instantly, heck yeah, what you got? I'll take them, send them my way. Everybody went crazy, and now I think the price is up to like $40 a bottle or something like that for them. So it was like an auction. But at first she said, and imagine that, I thought that was going to be a stupid thing to ask. And I smiled about that, and I said, look at those stories. Now try this one on for size. See if you've ever done this before. I had this happen when I was launching somebody earlier today. She was nervous. It was the first thing she'd reached out on. They just got started, super excited, but she was nervous as all get out, I could tell. And so, and a little side note, a launch isn't a launch unless you reach out to somebody and make something happen on either a customer perspective or a business partner perspective. And so I made sure that we were going to get her to reach out, and she did. She reached out to her friend Kara. And when she did, it was funny. She was she was a little nervous on it, and she goes, well, what should I do? I said, well, text her. Well, what should I say? We'll start with, hey, girl, what's up? I don't know. What do you usually send her? And so she did it. And then after that, she goes, well, she hasn't replied, and she'll get real anxious about this sort of stuff. And I mean, she's going on. I mean, she's building a story like we could win some prizes for writing ability on the stories that she's coming up with on what she thinks this person's thinking because she sent a text. I mean, it was pretty funny. I can guarantee she has never had that thought in her mind when she sent a text before, but because it's attached to something that she doesn't feel completely comfortable with, the little voice here on the side just starts going nuts, just going, oh my God, she's not going to answer. She's on vacation. She's busy. She's doing, and then just all these things start coming in. And sometimes that's enough to kick you out of actually taking the action. Has that ever happened to anybody?
Hey,
Karen, you have a question? Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm just going to say when that happens to me, because it does happen to me, I usually just make a note on my calendar in a couple of days just to follow up with that person. Because it happens all the time because we think because we're so attached to these things, if somebody doesn't respond to us right away, they're not interested. But it just means maybe not. Maybe they're doing life. And so I put a note to follow up with them in a few days.
That is absolutely perfect.
Move on to the next one.
It is. It's so good because you'll sit there and it's like you're waiting for a response. Like you can only talk to this one person via text at a time. It's like, well, I got to wait till this person replies back to me. I can't do Kyani anymore today. I got to wait for them to be able to come back. It's a text message. That's why we use the technology, because you can have 50 of these things going off at once. And then you come back and you read to see, okay, here's where we're at. Okay, yeah, now I remember. And then boom, what's the next thing I say? So that's the way you want to do it. But some of you do it like you're on the telephone with them. It's like, okay, well, I'll wait till you get back. Yeah, I'll just hold on the line. Like, holy, move on to the next one. They're busy. She goes, and it literally had been like 2 minutes. She goes, and we started a conversation. And so it was so fun. It was a roller coaster, man. It was an emotional roller coaster for her with this text message. And we sent that out. It was awesome, though. I mean, because it was working really well. So she replied back. She replied back. Like, you've never gotten that excited about a text message for somebody saying hi back in your life, you know? It's like you sent something to the moon and they replied. It was pretty funny. But that's what happened. So then the next thing that happened after that was then she started saying, hey, and she told the story about her friend who was having a lot of issues and thought about you this weekend when that happened. And then boom, she was quiet. And maybe 2 more minutes and we continued on with some more training. And then she came up again. She says, you know what? She gets anxious on this thing. She's gone radio silent. She's not going to talk to me anymore. I said, or maybe, I said, does she have kids? She goes, yeah. I said, well, maybe one of them spilled chocolate milk in the kitchen. That could be the thing too, you know? And it absolutely is a possibility that, yes, they actually ran for the hills and they're never going to talk to you again. That is, yes, that's a possibility. But so many people have that story that hits them, that messes with them hard. Karen, what else do you want to say on that?
I'm just going to say we've got some more questions coming in.
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So the stories, I really want you guys to be aware of separating fact from story. What happened and what's the story that you attach to it? It is spooky how much that'll happen. And you do it and watch others. It's easier to see it in others than it is to see it in you. Go up to somebody and they're saying, they're freaked out and say, hey, what happened? Well, 3 days ago, I was talking. No, what happened right now? They're telling this story and they got to build all the way up to it. And I just want, what happened right now? And I don't need to know all the extra stuff. Tell me what happened. So be aware of these stories. And when you see it in others, you'll see it in yourself. Be aware to not put those stories on there. Stop assuming the worst. If they didn't reply back to you, maybe they were busy. Maybe they had something else going on. So many times, like 98% of the time, when I follow up with somebody like Karen was mentioning, they're going to come back. Oh, yeah, sorry, man, I just got busy. I didn't come back. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were dead in a fire explosion that happened at that place that I saw. Anybody ever see like there's been some accident in another city and the person that that's there won't answer the phone and, oh, sweet Jesus, they're dead. They didn't make it. The stories that go on, it's fascinating to watch. So if you're doing that, be aware of that. And the only thing that you can do to fix that is be aware of it. That's all it takes. Once you're aware of it, it goes away. It's weird. So listen for that. Be aware of that. Write that one down because you're going to go back to normal like in 45 minutes. And then keep looking at that one and keep looking at that one. That one is hardcore ingrained in you, and that is a very powerful thing to be able to break out of. Okay. Questions that I see on here. Let's see here. If we have a prospect signing up this week, should he be added to these already? Nope, I went too far. I already answered that one. Okay. Can we also talk about objections when talking to potential customers? That's the wall I'm hitting. All right, I'm going to come back. I'm going to read all these. Brendan would like to talk about objections when talking to customers. How should I respond to a current prime customer when they say they are not really feeling a difference? Can you really feel your cholesterol? I like that one for the response. Wrote my answer, but you don't feel it when you get, yep. Okay, so objections. All right. So first one is, well, sorry, having technical difficulties here. Okay, objections when talking to potential customers. If you are running into objections, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that usually means that there's a question or they're bringing something up. If they do that and you are trying to answer that, you might be doing this wrong. And that's okay. But that's what you need to be aware of. You want to make a lot of mistakes fast, and that's a good mistake to make, and then learn from that and switch that over and pass the ball to your senior business partner. If they say, well, I'm not really quite sure about this, how does this, and this work? Those are objections. When you say, hey, you want to be a customer, and they say anything other than yes, then they are getting ready to give you an objection. When they give you that objection, you can try to answer all the questions, but that's weird. And to be able to do that, you feel the need that you need to know a lot of information. You feel like you need to study. You feel like you need to not ask anybody else anymore to take a look at your product until you know everything you need to know about this. And then we will reach back out and start talking to some more people. And that's why you would be doing it wrong. What you want to be able to do is you want to pass the ball. You want to say, you know what, that's a darn good question. I just got started with this. I really don't know the answer to it, but here's the cool thing. I don't have to. I have Encyclopedia Salji here. I can put you on the phone with him, and he is going to answer every single question that you could possibly come up with. Hold on one moment. You don't ask permission. You just do it. They say, well, I don't want to talk to anybody. Well, if you want the answer to your question, we're going to have to get him on the phone. And if they don't like that, they can keep being unhealthy. But that's how it's going to go down. If you stand up like that, they will be completely fine with it. So whenever there's a question that you don't know the answer to, you pass the ball to somebody else. Brenda, did you have a specific question that somebody was asking you so that I can maybe tie into it a little tighter?
Actually, I had a couple of people that, as I was talking to them about just trying the product, just to see what they think of it, their objections were, well, I need to talk to my doctor. My doctor has me on this, this, and this, and it's going to affect my heart or this, this, and this. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say what this can and cannot do with the medicines that they're on. So those were my two objections were
Perfect.
The doctor needs to.
Got it. Let me give you two possible answers. The first one's going to be the smart-ass one, which is fun, and maybe you can use it on them. And that one is, have you ever eaten at Whataburger, Popeyes, McDonald's, or Burger King? Why are you holding that cup from McDonald's right now and telling me that you need to go talk to your doctor before you try what I'm offering you? Now, that's the one that hits them right between the eyes with the two before. But that one, depending on the person you're talking to, is the most effective. You see where I'm going?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
you can dumb that down a little bit. Go ahead.
I told them, I said, this product is all natural.
Yep. Now, here's the issue. Here's the problem. Once you get into that back and forth, then you're on the opposite end of the table, and then it becomes a fight. And their ego is at stake. Because even though you're trying to help them for whatever jacked up reason that human beings get, they think they're on the right path. Here you go showing up with a miracle cure-all that they don't know about. So the only possible way that you know more than me is because you know something that a doctor has to agree to. No, I'm just telling you, you need to eat more freaking blueberries, man. Come on. And stop drinking freaking Coca-Cola. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But you do that, now you're jacking with that little ego in their head, and you're jacking with their personality because you're right and they're wrong, and that's where it breaks down. That's most likely what's happening. That's why we've got the proof from somebody else. That's why you go, hey, you know what, good question. And it was probably about 4 questions before you got to that point that you needed to pass the ball with them. Because once you answer one, then it goes to the second one, and then what it's doing is it's escalating. And then you're like, holy crap, how did we get to the point that you need a doctor to be able to look at some blueberries? And that's what you're thinking. Then you get irritated. Now they're jacking with your ego saying, well, you don't know anything. And it's like, I know blueberries work. And then it just goes to hell in a handbasket. So that's what we want to protect. That's why you don't want, that's called Death Valley. You answer one question, you fall off the cliff, you go into Death Valley, and you can't get out. Because when you answer one, you got to answer the next one and the next one and the next one, and then it becomes a fight. So what you want to do is you want to take the proverbial mindset of, you know what, hold on one second. Let me walk around the table here, sit on the same side of you and say, you know what, I don't have a clue. You and I have known each other for how long? Do I know anything about this stuff? No. But here's what I know. I know I've seen so many people that this has worked for that to me it's a no-brainer. But here's the other cool thing I know. I am connected with people that know every single answer to every single question you can come up with. Let me get you on with somebody who's got 100% of the information. Or they're going to say, well, if you need to take something to your doctor, let me get on this guy and he can give you the information. When that happens, something magical happens in the human brain. And I don't need to study this to be able to know it's a fact because I've seen it happen way too many times. All you got to do is get a third party on. And the fact that it's not you saying, you'll say the same thing, but it'll be because it's not you that you can handle that objection. Does that make sense, Brenda?
Mm-hmm.
That one's tough, especially in the beginning. And where people, the mistakes that they make and the ones that people keep making is that they keep, I'm telling them all the right information. Yes, you are. You're not doing that part wrong. It's the fact that you're even talking to them anymore that's the problem. And that's so weird. And that right there, I promise you, stake my life on it, is the #1 reason that people drop out of this business. And then the people that are cool with being able to ask for help come to this. The other ones go out and say these things don't work. because their ego got in the way of saying, well, and this is how you know it happened. They stop attending. They stop answering your phone calls. They stop going to the stuff. They got beat up. They don't like failing. They don't like showing that they don't know how to do something. And they just figure that it's just broken. Some little part in their brain knows that it's not the system, it's them, but they didn't listen to pay attention to. They think they know better, and so they decide that it's easier for them to walk away because it's only $1,000 to get started. That's what happens to people in this. So it's so important. That's when we say follow that process. That's as soon as that stuff starts happening, you get them to a third-party validation, somebody beside you. It can also be Wellness Simplified. Those are the two things that when you're going product route that you want to get them either on the phone with me or somebody that's not you. And I don't mean this rude. You probably know more about the nutrition on this thing than I do. It's the fact that it's somebody other than you saying it to them. That's all that matters. And then if you can point to something and you can get them and they can start taking a look at what's on Wellness Simplified, that's somebody else, and they're going to listen. You've been saying all the same stuff. I bet you there's been a time where you went and told Travis something that you knew for fact. He completely dismissed it, that you didn't know what you were talking about. What if somebody else says the exact same thing, and if it's your mother, all hell's going to break loose. But says the same thing,
all the time.
And then he listens to that person, and you're like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Raise y'all's hand if that's ever happened to you before.
That one.
Yes. Why is that? Because it's human being 101. They trust you, but they don't have any proof with you. It's not about the content. It's about the delivery mechanism. It's got to be somebody else. Now, you get to use all of that information that you're going to learn. That's why you come to this. That's why it's like, Casey, why should I learn any of this ever? Because you're going to be the person for your new distributors people that they're going to bring in. That's when you get to wax poetic about all the stuff that this thing does. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Perfect. So the answer is hit them between the eyes with the two before, talking about what they just ate for lunch today, or put them on the phone with somebody else. Okay? Same thing is going to go on the business, especially on the business side. When you're going down that path, you need to pass the ball before you send them any information. Here's something I also want to address. And this is happening a lot, and I see it, and I want to nip it in the bud before it gets any traction. People are reaching out. They're doing a great job. Boy, I'm going to blow this up. I'm going to call everybody. I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. I'm really excited about that. That's great. You're piquing their interest. And then they're going to say, hey, I'm interested. What do you got? Can you send me some information? You go, heck yeah. And what do? You send them teamfusionfamily.com, or you send them Wellness Simplified, or you send them a Done For You system. Better, not Wellness Simplified's okay, but Done For You system, or you start sending them all this, that, and the other. That isn't the best way that you can do it. And here's why. You need to pass the ball first before you give them the information. We have to inoculate your prospect from themselves, from their memory, because they think they know everything we're going to tell them. That's just who we are as human beings. Oh, this sounds like this, or this looks like this. There's all these studies out there where people, when they look at something, they think they saw something just because it looked like something they're used to, like a stop sign, and they'll rearrange the letters or something because it's that shape, that color, that size, and everything. And then it can say something else in there that doesn't say stop, but people still stop because it's an instantaneous pattern recognition that they see, and then you can continue on with your day. There's a special thing in our brain that does that for us, or otherwise we will go crazy because of the stimulus of everything that's coming in to you. Right now, you guys are focused solely in on me. Some of you are distracted by one of these little things that happens, but if you pause for just a second and look around at all of the different stimulus and things that are going on, just look at all the different light bulbs around you right now. Look outside. If you're looking out the window, look in the room that you're in. Look at all of the different spots of all the different things. You don't pay attention to that. You don't focus on all that. You focus on that one little bit right there. And so that's a key thing that I want to mention on that as well. So when people see the recognition, when they see that, they're going to instantly think, oh, I've seen that before. They focus on that one thing so that they can get to the next thing. if this sounds like Herbalife, if this sounds like Amway, if this sounds like Advocare, if this sounds like any of those other ones, they're going to have a knee-jerk reaction based on the history of what they had before, and they have no idea what they're passing up. And if we don't break into that and do it correctly, we might, and this is going to sound really harsh, but I mean it, we might as well take them out back and put a bullet in their head. And you're actually potentially doing that if you don't follow this correctly. I'm not saying my way is the only way, but get my point here. If you don't follow this right, that could be the person that needed to hear what we had to offer because they know somebody that needs this product extremely bad. Maybe they're married to them. Maybe if it's the kid next door who knows the lady down the street who's going to go cure cancer. You got to make sure that you don't waste a single opportunity by doing this wrong and not following that system. You want to learn it as quick as you can because literally, and I so mean this is how I see this business, is that lives are at risk of you figuring this thing out and doing it right. Don't just say, it's no big deal if I don't get this right. To a level, I get it. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. It happens in everything when people get into leadership where there's great power in what they can do, where it can actually make a true big impact really quickly. Everything we do makes an impact, but I mean like really big impact quickly with somebody else's life. And there's going to be, I think about all the people that I screwed up by not understanding this stuff when I started, and it kills me. But I can't fix that. I can learn from it, and I can impart it upon you guys. And hopefully you guys get it that much faster than I did. So that's a really big one. Gail, does that answer that? And do you prefer Gail or Brenda?
I answer to both.
Okay, cool. 50-50 on that one? You're okay either way?
Yeah, either way. I'm fine either way.
Okay, that's awesome. Very good. All right, does that answer it?
It does, absolutely.
Cool. Very cool. And please feel free to use me, use Karen, use Sherry, use any of us in that line to call us on any of those things. And don't feel like you need to hold back on that one. Just put us in. Okay, let's see here. What else we got? Ooh, that message thread blew up again. Question from group, Brenda. Okay, how should I respond to a current Prime customer when they say they are not really feeling a difference? This happens from every once in a while, and the thing that I found the most is that they're not using the product right, honestly. And you can ask them, hey, are you using it right? First thing, you calling my knowledge into question here? Of course I did. What's wrong with you? Sometimes that'll be the reaction that you get. What you need to do is say, hey, why don't you tell me how you're taking the product? Well, I'm doing it just like it says. Enlighten me. How are you doing it? It's a different question, and it gets a different information out of them. Instead of giving them something and they say, yeah, I'm doing that. Why don't you go ahead and tell me exactly what you're doing, and that would be better. So I make sure that I understand how you're doing this. And then make sure they're actually doing it right. And if they're doing it and it sounds like they're doing it right, ask them to up whatever it is. If they're looking for more energy and they're not getting, I had this with Eddie, with the lady earlier. She was using Nitro FX. I said, try the extreme. She did that. She still wasn't feeling anything. I was like, dude, there's no way you're not feeling something on this. And I said, well, what are you doing? I'm taking the drops. Well, how many? I'm taking 3. 3 drops. Fantastic. We know what the problem is now, don't we? Asked her before, are you taking it right? You follow and think, yeah, absolutely. Taking 3 drops. Maybe you can up that by 7 and see what happens. 7 times more. And guess what? She's going to feel a lot better now. So that's one of the things that I would do, and verify that they are following it. That's usually the issue. And then here's the deal. If they're not, and they're not feeling it, and they've done it for 2 months, then I would come back with them of saying, they're not really feeling a difference. I say, look, did you look at the science on this thing? Do you see what this is doing from a long-term perspective? And a couple people went in there and says, can you feel how well your cholesterol is doing? Can you feel how well your blood pressure is doing? Can you feel, all those different markers? Probably not. And push them from that perspective so that they see that there's a lot that can go in there. And the same thing there too. You've got an objection that's happening. Put them on with somebody else. So chances are that somebody that you've got a warm market relationship with them. You don't want that to come into question. Pass the ball to somebody else. So if that doesn't work for them, it's on the other guy. It's not on you. You can still be friends. So yes, Linda, what you got on that one? That was your question too.
That was my question.
Yeah.
And she's my customer. She only wanted to try the sunrise. So she didn't want to purchase anything else. And I talked to her about purchasing the other products, and she just wasn't interested.
Okay.
So I just told her, I guarantee you, if you stop taking it, even, if it's just a sunrise, if you stop taking it, you will feel it.
Yeah. So she's prime customer, but she wouldn't get the other two?
No, she just got the sunrise.
Was it a money thing?
No, not at all. I don't know. She just said she wanted to try it. And she tried that. And I did explain how the triangle works very briefly. And she was very interested. So I was kind of surprised when she just ordered the sunrise.
Yeah, there might be a little something more going on there. Pretty good chance there's a story. You might try this on for size and say, hey, a tricycle is really cool thing, but you just put one wheel in the tricycle. It's really not going to work as well as it would if you had three. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
So that might be just to try to get her to see that it's a synergistic effect on it. Now, if she's allergic to something in or something like that, that's all good. I get that, but there might be a little more something going in there. Ask some more questions, and when you do it and let her know up front. It's like, look, you're unique in the fact that you're only doing one. I just really want to know why, and then see what she says. And then if you if somebody's holding back on you, see if you can get them. Is this somebody that you're close to?
Yeah, she's one of my students. It's a mom.
Okay.
But we were just talking about, she told me she was switching up some things for her son, and she wanted me to be aware of it. And we were talking about natural things. So it kind of segued into me talking to her about the products. And she said, that sounds great. I trust you. I want to try it. I don't even need to see anything. I just want to try it. But I did send her some information. And that's why, again, I was surprised that she only tried the sunrise.
Yeah, tell her that definitely the synergistic effects of all of them is going to make a big deal. What is she hoping to achieve? Did she say what's her ailment that she's trying to help out?
Nothing really. She just said it sounded healthy. She just wanted to become healthier, so she wanted to try it.
All right. Well, yeah. Tell her she needs to take the whole thing to really give it a true try. And the hardest part about this is when you go through all those steps and they still don't want to do it, and then you go, okay.
Right. Okay.
Yep. And then after that, keep dripping on them and keep trying. But just another mindset thing is consider all the other people out there drowning that are looking for that life raft. And this one only wanted to, use half the life raft.
Got it.
So that would be the thing on that. I dig in on that one. There's something else going on. My gut tells me there's something else going on, that she's got some preconceived notions in there.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Great question. All right. Love your customers. Ask them if they know your friends. All right. Question from Nick. Do you have any advice or tips for us young guys that may not have as many connections with other people? Yes. You know just as many people. And the other thing is, you live on social media, do you not? Yeah, Nick, how many friends you got on Facebook? Well, I know Facebook's for us old farts, but Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat? I'm going to unmute you, Nick.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Yeah, don't and a lot of times, it's funny. The really young folks, your 18s into your 25-year-olds are going, well, I don't know anybody. And then I get it on the other spectrum. You get to your 70-year-olds and 80-year-olds going, well, I don't know how to use a computer. And so everybody's got their thing that's going to be there. But no, you're good on that, man. You know enough people. 2,000 people statistically, even in a small town. 2,000 people by the time you're 18 years old. So the key of what you need to do, and the best thing to overcome that on how do I get more connections, is you've got it. There's usually what that means, and I'm not saying this is you, but try this on and tell me if it fits, is that you feel like there's only so many people that you're going to be able to reach out to. And so you think of your list as a finite resource. And so what you need to understand is that it is an unlimited resource. It truly is. You can never run out of people. So what I want you to do is get the memory jogger. Get with Kate on that, or get with Jake on that. And there's a memory jogger that's out there. Or you can do a search, and this is for everybody. It's called Eric Worre's Memory Jogger. You subscribe to his stuff, you get the free thing. It's 72 pages. and it walks you through on how to make a really big list. You just haven't gotten your brain tuned into it just yet to be able to see that. It's like you see in the stop sign, but you didn't realize that the stop sign was there. They're there. It's just an exercise. Everybody goes through this in the beginning. It's like, man, I don't know. Even if you're, I don't care if you're, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, everything. I don't know nobody. I get that so many times. I really don't know that many people. And when I get done going through that exercise with them, we have a list of 200. And that's no joke. You'll go through a list of 200. And I guarantee you, you go through a list of 200, you go through it quickly, you reach out to those people quickly, and don't worry about what they're going to say. You're just looking for the people that raise their hand, go, okay, what you got? I'm interested. You do that quickly, you're going to find 3 to 10 to 20 people that are ready to jump on board with you right away. And then we go through and we do the same thing with them. And then all of those people that come on board are going to get somewhere between 3 to 7 to 10 customers each. And you just keep that process going over and over and over and over and over again. And the faster you do that, the faster you retire and have anything you want on this planet. It is that stinking simple. It's just this thing gets in the way every step along the way.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. And keep those questions coming, man. They're wonderful. All right. When we're reaching out and attempting to pique interest, how much is too much info? That's a really good question. Less is always more. Never tell them what the company is if you can help it. If they say, I'm not looking at it until you tell me the name of the company, then say, I'm not telling you anyway. You just got to play chicken and just be the guy that's going to go last. Now, what you can do, I'm joking on that. What you can do, the biggest thing to do is when they ask a question, we're so used to somebody ask a question, I give an answer. The teacher says, what's the answer to this, this, and this? Yes, ma'am, and blah, 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 blah. It's programmed into us. Boss comes in, asks you a question, you give him an answer. We're not used to when somebody asks us a question, ask them a question back. That always screws with people. They say, well, what's the name of the company? Dude, the company, here's the deal. Who do you know that's got the distribution rights to an international nutraceutical company offered in 67 countries? Do you know anybody that's got one of those? Well, no, man. All they're doing is they're looking for information, so they start asking questions, and they don't want to sound stupid, so they say, what's the name of the company? And then when you tell them the company, I need to research that. You can go research that, and I'm okay with them. I tell them Kyani, but I don't want you to tell them that. I want them to talk to me, and then I can inoculate them, and then I can tell them. I'm going to tell them the company straight away. And I'm going to say, you never heard of it. They're going, what do you mean? No, you never heard of it. Kyani. Oh, you're right. I've never heard of it. And that's part of the process of what we do. So what you want to do is say, look, dude, you're going to ask me a whole bunch of questions about this thing. I'm just trying to see, are you interested in taking a look at a way of earning some additional income or getting healthier? I just need a yes or no answer. If you're yes, then there's step 2 that we're going to do after that. What do you mean? It's like, there's a process, man. I'm partnered with some of the top dogs in this thing. I just need to get you on the phone with them. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm really not completely sure of this whole thing. I just know it sounded really freaking good, and it sounded so good, and it made enough sense to me that I got the distribution rights to an international nutraceutical company offered in 67 countries. How many of those you got? I don't have any. Cool. You want to talk to my guy or not? Sounds a whole lot easier when I do it, doesn't it, Nick? So keep coming to these, keep hearing that, keep getting better, jump in the deep end of the pool. And guess what? Some of them are going to be, their hair's not going to get blown back for that. And here's the other thing I'll tell you guys. When you're doing the business, give yourself some slack. Cut yourself some slack. Here's it. You ain't going to say the wrong thing to the right person, and you ain't going to say the right thing to the wrong person. Okay? You got somebody that's looking for something, there's a really good chance that they're going to pop in and they're going to follow along, even if you do it completely wrong and throw up all over them. And that's going to happen too. If you haven't done that, don't worry. And as you're throwing up on them, you just keep talking and keep talking. You're like, why am I still talking? Why don't I shut up? You're going to know you're doing it. It's the weirdest feeling in the world. So that's okay. All right. Reaching out. I'd never tell them the name. I also have some customers only on Sunrise. Like the tricycle analogy. Good. Does Carrie have any results from using Triangle after running? Yes, she does. Completely increases your recovery time like nobody's business. Inflammation, 48% 3,000 steps she did yesterday in 4 hours and 40 minutes in a marathon. That's a lot of steps. Yeah, I was pretty impressed too. I tell you guys, I married up. So yes, inflammation, very, very helpful. Triangle helps that immensely from pain as well as your body's healing, and speeds the recovery time on the healing process that much faster. Remember, this maintains, defends, repairs every cell in the body. That's what nitric oxide does. Very, very powerful. Icebreakers, yes, Nick, that is a very powerful book by Big Al Tom Schreider. And he's not big, and his name is not Al, which is the funniest thing in the world. But all right, you go to Diamond University, the memory jogger is in the bottom. No kidding. That's cool. Diamond University's got it in there. Very cool. That's from Kyle. I'm glad you made it out to it. Do you have examples on what to say if you get the response that the products are too expensive? Oh, I got a great one for that. But here's the best response. I love giving the smart-ass answer and then the other one that you should probably use. So the one that you should use is, you know what? If the product price, let me make sure I'm giving you the right prices on this thing. Hold on one second. Let me get the right person on the phone for you. That's the easiest way to put it on there. Maybe I'm looking at them wrong. You're not looking at them wrong. You want to get them on the phone with me and let me do this. And let me do this on your behalf. That's the easiest and fastest way. But the smart-ass answer is, how much does it cost to get your heart fixed after a heart attack? What's a stroke costing these days? What happens when your cholesterol issues are causing blockages? How much does that cost? You're going to pay for your health one way or another. You can do the cheap way or you can do the expensive way. So that's what I ask them. That's what I tell. And a question with a question. Products are too expensive. Here's another one. This one really beats them up. This is Jim Rohn 101. The products are too expensive. No, they're not. You don't make enough money. Maybe I need to tell you about the business side of this thing. Again, that might be the smart-ass answer, but you use it as you see fit. You got to have some fun with this. Another thing is reframe it for them. You go to Starbucks, how many times? $4 a day every time for that mocha frappuccino, whatever it is you're drinking. That's in your hand that you don't know the ingredients for. When you tell me that you need to check with your doctor, I'm going to go ahead and fix that one all at the same time. $4 a day, and I'm going to give you the best health you can possibly get. All right. Another question. He who asked the question controls the conversation. That is extremely true. Now, it's not an easy thing to do. That takes a little practice. So practice. Do it. Try it if you're riding with somebody, if you're going to Diamond University, y'all role play. Don't talk about all the stuff that you already know. Try the stuff that you haven't done before. Do some role playing on that. Well, what would you say in this situation? Just start coming up with stuff that you've ran into. And that's a really good thing to be able to do. It's 12:15. I apologize. I have no idea. It's 10:15. This power hour is fun for me. I hope y'all know that. It's like a time warp. Just go in and poof. If I ever needed to get to be 10 o'clock real fast on a Monday or Thursday, I just jump on here. All right. Very good. Well, we are 15 minutes over, so I think I got through all the questions that are on here. How many people? Cool. We had 40 people tonight. Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody jumping on. Hopefully everybody is enrolled for Diamond University. If you are not enrolled for Diamond University yet, I don't want you to make the excuse of, well, I guess I'll just have to go to the next one next time. I just started right now and I can't go. You need to get on the whatever it takes plan and figure that out. I'm looking at Miss Sandra Ziegler right here in the middle. She came in on board on a Thursday, and the next day at 2 o'clock, she was in my Mercedes riding with me to Dallas, Texas for a big event that we did. So I don't want anybody, and her son was having a soccer game and just every other thing in the world. And you can make it happen or you can make excuses. You cannot do both. And I can tell you that if you allow yourself to go to Diamond University, it will absolutely change your life. It will change your life. Where's Kyle at? Is Kyle still on here? Kyle, I'm going to unmute you.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Cool. And you made it to Diamond University, is that right?
Yes, I did.
And how long have you been in the business, sir?
2 weeks.
Sweet. We haven't talked yet about Diamond University, have we, you and I?
No, we have not.
All right. So I want everybody to know that this isn't canned. I'm just going to ask you straight up. What did Diamond University do for you, if you don't mind sharing with everybody?
Totally changed everything.
Well, pay you $20 anyway just for that awesome answer. But all right, tell us what it did.
And totally.
Crap, I think we're
Well, it gave me a new perspective on. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, my connection's not very good. Sorry. But the education that it was given, the clarity for everything, it was just phenomenal. It just put things in perspective like I've never heard it before, and it was great.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
And they go really in depth into dealing with the excuses. Like in the binder, they have a list for every excuse you can get and an actual script on how to address all of those objections. They have, they go into the nutrients of everything really well. It was fantastic.
I love it.
It was a good game changer.
Oh man, I'm very glad. So Worth, and you went from you don't live in San Diego, do you? Might have lost him.
I live in North County, so it's about 50 miles away.
Okay, so not too bad of a drive. Very good. Appreciate you sharing that. Miss Kate Tang, if you don't mind telling everybody what's happened in your organization since you attended the Diamond University in Calgary. I don't know if she's still on or not. Yep, gotcha. How many people have you brought into your organization since Diamond University? And first, when did you go to Diamond University?
I went to Diamond University on December 10th to the 12th.
Cool. And how many people in December 12th? And when did you begin in the business? November
28th.
28th. So you were in for like 12 days, and then you ended up going.
Yeah.
How far away was Diamond University for you?
4 hours.
4 hours. And how many people do you have in your organization now?
I believe 10.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think it might even be a couple more than that. That is awesome. And what would you say shortly? What did it do for you?
It gave you the confidence, the tools, pretty much everything that you needed to believe in yourself, to teach you how to talk to people, make goals.
Yeah. Awesome. And if you don't mind, how old are you?
24.
24. That's powerful. That's powerful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. So, everybody, my point is make sure you get yourself to Diamond University at all costs. Here's what's going to happen for everybody that's got tickets already and they are ready to go and they got it all figured out. And this will also happen to the ones that are thinking about doing it. The devil is going to step in the way. He's going to start throwing some obstacles your way. He's going to start throwing in roadblocks and detours and excuses and reasons and anything that you want to call them, but they're things that are going to keep you from getting there. And it is up to you to choose. Well, Casey, I have to go take care of this, that, and the other. It is a choice that you are going to make. And I understand that some choices you feel like you don't have a choice. You do have a choice. It might be a no-brainer that you have to go do the other thing. I get it. I don't know what's going to run into you. But just be aware that you're making the choice on what you're going to go do. And I want to make sure that you guys see it and understand it and make sure you get yourself in the vehicle that is going to get you there and make sure you get there. And then I want you to call everybody in your group, if you have a group, and I want you to tell them that you're going and that you expect them to be there as well. And if they run into anything, you guys pool resources, figure out how to get them there. I'm telling you, it's that big of a deal. It's like a very major event to be able to get to that. So don't miss that. All right. I apologize for going over so far. One of y'all I need to get somebody to be my time checker here and let me know and flash a comment that says it's 10 o'clock, start wrapping it up or something. But I appreciate everybody staying on and getting some info out of this. I am going to post the recording out. And when I do, I will let you know about it in the Power Hour. All right, folks, we will see y'all on Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Time. And you guys blow it up this week. If you need any help, let me know. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming. I'm going to unmute everybody so we can say goodnight.
Thanks, Casey.
Good night, everyone.
Casey. Good
Thank
night.
you so much.
You're welcome.
Night.
Night.
See you next time.
All right.
Bye. See ya.
We were nowhere near those, were you?
Nope.
Just because you guys saw.
Yes.
Well said, Kendra. Love it. All right. Y'all have a good night.
You too.